Have you ever wondered how to stack and combine containers to turn it into a shipping container home? Well, today that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Right behind me is a 40-foot container that we're converting into a tiny home. This is one of 4 containers that will be getting combined and going to Johnson Valley, California for an amazing off-road event. It's going to be an Airbnb rental space, and it's going to have garage space for their UTVs. Let's check it out. As you enter, the first space on the left is the bedroom. Now the bedroom space has 2 amazing windows, allowing a ton of natural light inside and allowing you to capture those awesome views. Next, we have our living room space, and we have this awesome vertical window. Next to the window, we're gonna have our sofa. This is where the living room is gonna be. You can hang out, watch TV right here. And then finally, over here, we have the kitchen space. There's gonna be 2-burner induction stovetop. We got the kitchen sink. Right here is going to be the fridge and the microwave. And then at the very end is where we have the bathroom. There's going to be a shower on the left, and then on the right-hand side, there is the toilet as well as the vanity and mirror. Now, what's interesting about this home is I mentioned this is one of 4 containers. So right through this door is actually going to lead into a double-wide shipping container garage out of 2 20-foot containers, and up top is going to be a 20-foot bedroom. Now I want to walk outside and I want to show you how we're structurally reinforcing this container to accommodate for the additional containers. When it comes to stacking containers, you do want to be wise about how you do it. This is why it's important to hire a structural engineer that can run the calculations and get you the information you need to make sure that the way you're reinforcing your container is correct. Now I'm going to show you how our engineer instructed us to reinforce this container. So first up, for all the doors and windows, we did what we call H-frames. These are when the 2 side members, the vertical members, go from the top 2-inch beam all the way down to the bottom rail of the container right here. Now, ultimately, these are the structural supports, the 2 vertical members. Now, we also ran 2x2 tube steel across the bottom and top of the window as well. So for all the doors and windows, that's how we did them. Now going over here, the other 20-foot container is going to be stacked up on this end of this 40-foot container. Now, as you know, with shipping containers, all the weight comes down on the 2 sides, right? It's the 4 corner posts. So you want to make sure that those areas are structurally reinforced properly. So what we're doing is that corner post is going to land directly on top of the other one where there's already a lot of structural support. So there isn't a lot of engineering that needs to be done there. However, this container is not designed to have a load of another container directly on the middle of it. It's for this reason that we added this 10-inch C-channel. This is 10 inches by 2 inches. It's welded to the very top member and also down here at the very bottom. And what's going to happen is all the weight from the upper 20-foot container is going to go from that knuckle through this column, and the pier is going to be right here that it's going to be resting on. So all the weight gets transferred down to the foundation. Now lastly, I want to show you how we're going to actually attach our container to this other container. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be welding them knuckle to knuckle, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. Now our engineer instructed us that we need to make sure there's 10 inches of welding on each corner of the container. So these knuckles right here are larger than 5 inches on each side. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a 5-inch weld right here on this side and an additional 5-inch weld on that side. We'll be doing that on all 4 of the corners to make sure that upper container is properly secured. One of the challenges when building multiple containers off-site and having them already pre-built is how do you interconnect the electrical? So what we're doing is on each of our units, as you can see here, all the wiring that's coming out of this junction box is going to connect to a junction box on the 20-foot container that's going right above it. So that 20-foot container that's being pre-built, all the wires are going to look just like this, but they're going to be exiting, and they match with these ones that are right here. So I can see here we got our AC wiring, we have our lighting, and we have our outlets. That upstairs unit doesn't have any plumbing, so it really is a pretty simple build out. Now I want to take you to the back of this container, because what's going to happen is all of the electrical is getting connected to the main breaker panel, which is located on the back of this 40-foot container. So right here is where the main breaker panel is going to go. This is all the wiring. So the wiring that's popping out over there that's gonna connect to the 20-foot container up top actually just runs and pops out right here. This is a 200 amp panel, and then right behind me, there's actually gonna be the 2 additional 20-foot garage containers. That's gonna be coming across here and running that way. It will also have a junction box with wires that will match up to these wires, and that's how we're interconnecting all 4 of the units. Now the plumbing on this unit is interesting because this is actually gonna get set on a flat pad. We needed to get creative with how we did the plumbing. We weren't gonna have a crawl space underneath where we could run all of our drain lines. So what we ended up doing is we ran all the plumbing and water lines directly underneath. So as you can see here, this is our main drain line. So all of the sinks, the showers, the toilet, everything connects to this line and exit out the container, and it's elevated just above the bottom knuckle so it can sit flat on the pad. We also have all of our water lines. They're popping out under here. You can see blue and red lines, the cold and hot water. Those will get interconnected, and those will all exit right here next to the sewage line. This is gonna allow us to set it flat on the concrete pad and still have enough pitch, but there is an important thing I'd like to show you. Now, in order to have enough pitch to stay up within the container, we did have to raise 2 items. That is the toilet and the shower. So we actually purchased this. It's called a toilevator. It raises this toilet about 3.5 inches and gives us enough room and enough clearance on the underside of the container with the drain lines. As you can see here, we also framed out a mini subfloor underneath the shower to raise it about 3.5 inches. This also gives us enough room for the P-trap in the shower. Lastly, we have our 3 rooftop decks. These are all prefabricated. They're 8 foot by 20 feet, and the railings are actually pre-installed and hinged on each of these units. Now, these will be going on top of the 40-foot container and on top of the 2 20-foot containers. They'll be individually mounted. We don't even need to weld these on. These are set up to where they can just simply rest on the container and be bolted into the top beam, the 2x2 beam that runs across the very top of the containers. These will be interconnected, making it 480 square feet of rooftop deck space. Now, once they're up there, the next step is to install our decking. We like to use Trex decking. We go with the clamshell gray, and we've been really happy with it. That product, it's very durable, it lasts a long time, and it has a great warranty. Now, the last thing that we need to install to complete this, what you don't see here, is our staircase. Now, because it's going to California, there's very specific code that we needed to meet for the rise and run of the steps. This made it a larger staircase. That'll be arriving later today. Last thing I want to point out is the railings. You can notice here that there's vertical members every 4 inches. Now, you want to be careful when you're designing railings just to make sure you stay within code. If you run these members horizontally, what you're actually doing is creating a ladder, which could be a hazard for children. So you want to make sure as you're constructing things like this that you are meeting your local codes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Johnson Valley King of the Hammers shipping container home. If you'd like more information on the types of models that we build, we have a variety of 20-foot, 30-foot, and 40-foot models. Some of them are even ready to ship. You can click the link in the description below. Also, if you're interested in building your own shipping container home, we do have a free training that we've created for you. We go over our biggest lessons after building over 100 container homes. That also is linked below. Don't forget to like and to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.